Good morning.
Good morning.
How
I
are you?
don't Can you see me?
I can't. Yeah, there should be a video button at the bottom.
I think there it is. Okay.
Haha! Success.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How about you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too.
The only
The
way we can do this right now, I feel.
I know it. Yeah, and the fiance had to work today, and I didn't even think about it when I booked the consultation though too. 'Cause he's on rotating days, so every week it's different. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah,
That is the
but
story of life when you have a rotating schedule, right?
yeah.
Oh boy. So you're getting married. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Very exciting. So we are also, Don and I are also getting married. We've been together for 7.5 years.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I'm very excited. It's about time. We're getting married in Jamaica on May 7th in
Oh
2022.
wow.
And then we're having a reception back in Michigan on June 18th. So you're like right in between our
That's
like
crazy.
our wedding date and reception date.
That's exciting though.
Yeah. Where are you getting married?
So we are gonna get married at the Fox Hill Event Center, right over in Cadillac here.
Oh,
We're located in Mesick, so that's
oh
probably
yeah.
like 20 minutes from us.
I'm in Interlaken. I'm close to you.
Yep. Yeah.
Cool. Love it. So how did you find me?
I think the first time I found your name was either on the Knot or gosh, I don't even remember half. I've been searching and searching and searching for quite some time now, and I keep popping through. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna jump in and message a
Yeah.
couple. So
Yeah, totally. Yes, that's kind of like how it goes, right? Like you're like, I'm looking, and finally you just have to be like, oh, okay, next step. I have to talk to somebody.
exactly,
Yeah. So
start those conversations.
yeah, start those conversations, get them going, and see where that goes. So you're getting married at Fox Hill. What's your fiance's name?
His name is Jesse Shelton,
Are you taking
and
his last name?
because because he couldn't be here, I did find a couple of our pictures here. I don't know if I can.
Oh, cute.
So that was the day that he proposed.
Oh my God. Oh, how'd that go down? What happened there?
So he pulled it off very well. I had no idea. And he actually had my two best friends, both of which I'm going to have two maid of honors.
Oh, cool.
And he had them hiding in the woods. So he took me up to the High Rollaway, which has been one of his favorite places to go since he was a
Love it.
kid.
Yep.
Yep. And it was one of the first places that he took me when I first came all the way over here because I was over in Manistee when we met. So that's
Oh,
kind of become our spot.
you've made the drive a few times.
Yes.
How long have
Yep.
you guys been together?
Oh gosh, we'll be together. It's 2.5 years, pretty much this month. It'll be 3 years, the 8th of November.
Oh, nice.
So,
Love it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
cool. Okay, so tell me about your family or families, both of you. Who's combining?
My specific family lives all over the place. I myself, growing up with my mom and dad and my brother, we have moved in the 20-ish time frame. So yeah, I'll be 25 this year, and I've moved just about that many times. Um,
Holy moly.
yeah, my parents and my brother, they're over in New York. I've got grandparents in Florida. I've got cousins in North Carolina. So my family's pretty widespread.
Do you think they're all going to be at the wedding?
Those are the ones that I want there. So yes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Are
I
there
do have
ones you don't want
families.
there?
There's a handful that I would, rather not, but
Yeah, stay home if you have to. Or,
exactly, like you
yeah.
don't feel obligated to have to be there. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
um
That's funny.
my dad's side of my family comes from a long line of drug addicts and alcohol addicts. My dad himself has actually been a recovering alcoholic for 13 years now. He's been sober.
Wow.
So there a lot of that comes a lot of drama.
Totally.
So yeah,
Yeah.
there's certain things that I want for our wedding that can be triggering for a lot of them. Of course, the alcohol and all that kind of stuff. So it's a little nerve wracking
You're like open
to
bar, but not for you, and not for you, and not for you.
exactly. Yep, I'll
You
have
you get
pictures with
one glass
names
of
and I'll ask
wine.
for the bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're all doing, they're all doing pretty well. Actually, my dad's mom, so my grandma, and then his sister, my aunt, both of them have now been sober for just over 6 months.
That's great.
So I'm really
Hey,
hoping that
one
they
foot in
stay
front of
that
the
way.
other, right? Like it's just
Yep,
you can only
exactly.
do one day at a time.
Yep, exactly. So it's nerve wracking, but I'm hopeful that they're gonna stay on that path. But we lost actually 11 family members in the span of 2.5 years, um, just a couple years ago. So yeah, one of them being my grandpa, so my grandma's husband. So a lot of that, he died from alcoholism and all that. So it was just kind of one big mess for a while.
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
it's tough to deal with too and like process, especially if you're drinking while you're trying to process
process
this,
all of
like
that
it just doesn't.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yep, it just escalates the problem. It doesn't solve anything.
No,
But
yeah, that's
then,
sweet.
so Jesse's family, he's one of, let's see, he's got 4 sisters and a brother, so he's one of 6. And then all of his brothers and sisters have kids of their own, so we've got lots of nieces and nephews.
Cool.
And his dad actually lives like 3 miles down the road from us, so we get to see him all the time. And then his mom and her husband live actually just south of Chum. So
Okay.
all of his family is super close knit. The majority of he's only got his brother who lives downstate, and then all the rest of them live within, like this northern Michigan corner between like Frankfort is the other farthest, and then one of his sisters lives over here in Mesick, and then the other 2 live up in Traverse. So
This is like a little triangle. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Oh
Perfect.
yeah.
Very cool. Love that. Um, so like what are some of the hobbies that you and Jesse do together?
So we just bought our house about it'll be 2 years in June. And
Mhm.
especially, of course, the last year we've all kind of been stuck in quarantine for quite some time. So we kind of took it upon ourselves to do a lot of like renovations and yard work and
Cool.
stuff.
You learned
Actually,
some things.
yes, last weekend, outside of me throwing my back out in the process, we cut down like 10 trees from our front yard to open it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we updated our back deck and our porch. We tore apart and redid that and did concrete and sidewalk and all kinds of stuff. So I've been adding a lot of trade skills to my resume.
It's so cool. And like honestly, it's only gonna just come in handy for the rest of your life. Like
Oh yeah.
that you ever own from here on out is gonna be you're gonna be able to like, oh, I can lay some sheetrock, no problem.
Exactly. Yep. I can do concrete, and we built. We had a whole bunch of scrap stuff that was left from the owners that we bought the house from. They were like, if you want us to haul this out of the yard, we can. And we were like, just leave it there. We'll either use it or we'll burn it or whatever.
Yeah.
And we built a chicken coop and got chickens. So we've got
Oh my
chickens, and oh yeah, well, between the 2 of us, we've got 3 kids. So he has 2 from his previous marriage, and I have 1 from a previous relationship,
God. Okay.
and they get along great.
That's
Which,
awesome. Love
yeah,
that.
that was our biggest concern when we first got together. We kind of One of the things that he and I both talked about before like getting into a serious relationship was like, if the kids don't get along,
This
and
ain't gonna work.
it's one of those things like, you kind of have to force it, and it's like that's not what we wanted. And
Yeah.
so when we first introduced the kids and everything, and it was like in the snap of a finger, they were like immediately like brother and sisters all the way around so it was like, all right, this is perfect.
That's so cool. I love that.
So,
Yeah, it's
mhm.
so important that like the family dynamic that mattered to you guys. Like I
Oh yeah.
that really speaks volumes to who you guys are.
Yep,
What do you do
definitely.
for work?
So I'm kind of searching for other opportunity right now. I just had a second interview with Great Wolf Lodge for a restaurant supervisor position, so I'm
Okay.
hopeful on that.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm actually with Crystal Mountain, and I captained banquets for them for a summer, and I got hired in as the mountain market supervisor, and I've been there for 3 years doing that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I
yeah.
worked at Crystal Mountain up until June of last year, and now he works full time with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, he worked at
crazy.
Crystal Mountain for like 7 years.
Where did he work then?
So his name is Don Highway, which if you've read it or seen his name before, that one sticks out because he's like a movie star name.
Right.
Um, so Don Highway, he worked in, well, his last position before he left, he was in golf course maintenance. So he would be like cutting
Okay.
grass and
Okay.
like
I so
maintaining.
definitely worked with like Jason Farah
Oh yeah,
and all of them too. Yep. I'm sure I probably saw him in passing because throughout
yeah.
the course of summer, they all come in when they're on their breaks, and they would come in and get lunch from the market because we've got like the deli food and all of that. So
Yeah, I'm sure you would
That's
recognize
funny.
him. He's very handsome, and he's got very blonde hair, chiseled jawline. My dad's girlfriend told me she thinks that he looks like Jude Law. I was like, kind of.
That's funny. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
small world. Oh, that's funny. We love
Yeah, no kidding.
it was,
Yeah, and
like it was sad for him to leave, of course, but like also to live your dream of
of
traveling and going all
of
over the
course.
country and shooting weddings and doing life full time together is just
No
freaking.
kidding. Jesse and I were just having a conversation about that the other day. It was funny. He had a long day at work, and I had already had plans with actually one of my maid of honors. We were going to go out to Traverse City and grab dinner and stuff like that. And he was like, "Don't worry about me. You can like still go. I don't want you to cancel plans just because I had a long day, whatever."
Yeah.
So we were up having dinner, and he messaged me and he was like, "I'm going to bed. Don't feel bad, blah, blah, blah." But of course, I immediately felt bad. And the only thing that I wanted to do was come home and just like crawl into bed with him because
And
that's
make
like
him feel better.
exactly that's the relationship that we have. You know, it was like he was like, "You shouldn't have to feel bad when you're out with one of your friends just because I didn't feel good and wanted to go to bed."
Yeah. Yeah. But it's hard when you care about your person. You don't want to be bummed out. You can't, you know that you hold the key to making them happier.
Yep.
What does he do for work?
So he's a corrections officer. He actually works at the prison over in Manistee. He works with my godfather.
Oh wow.
Yep, my mom and dad's best friend, Jason, has worked there for several years, and they've worked together for several years. We have an 8-year age gap.
Okay.
So he's 33 and I'll be 25 this July.
Cool.
And so it was kind of funny because when we first started dating, of course, my Uncle Spot found out about it, and Jesse came home the one night and he was like, "So I got to meet your Uncle Spot today, officially." I guess he called him on his radio and was like, "Shelton, I need you to come to my office." Yeah. And of course he's like, "Yikes." And basically, it was just one of those things. He was like, "So Morgan's dad doesn't live very close, which means, well, he's not here, I'm dad."
So you see this baton on my hip right
Yeah.
here?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It can be used on you very
Exactly.
discreetly.
Yeah. I was like, "I'm sorry that he did that, but that's Uncle Spot for you." So
Hey, it's good to know that you got people looking out for you. Nothing
exactly.
wrong with that. That's great. Do you think you're gonna change your last name?
Oh yeah. Yep. I'll be taking his last name.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. So like describe your perfect wedding day to me. Like what does it look like? What does it feel like? What are the things that are most important to you?
The biggest thing that is most important to both of us is, of course, I kind of just described like how close we are. We do everything together. So kind of really showcasing that, and then bringing our families together too. The place that we chose, I don't know if you've been to that event center before, kind of see, yeah. So I mean, the reception is in the big building. They've got every other door opens wide up into their yard, and then the ceremony site is right in the backyard area. So it's super close knit, and it's just going to really bring our two families together with us. And I've always like loved those big yard games, and they have all of them. So that's kind of going to be the feel for afterwards. Though too, we're going to do. They have a little fire pit out there, so we're gonna, after the formal reception and everything, after cake and the whole 9 yards with that, it's going to be kind of one of those like bring your jeans and your sweatshirt, you can go change. We're going to have the bonfire. There's going to be yard games. We've, of course, because we've got 3 kids,
Yeah.
and all of our nieces and nephews on both sides and everything, all the kids are going to be there. So it's, trying to just make it more of a family thing while we come together as one.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
yeah,
this is the only time that this specific group of people is going to be in one place together at one
exactly.
magical.
Yep.
You're going to watch your old neighbor talk to your high school best friend who's
Yep.
standing there with his uncle. Like, it's going to be
Yes,
really weird.
exactly. It's gonna be fun to watch though too from that inside. Like, I didn't know that you two kind of like,
You
you
already knew
know,
each
there's
other.
always gonna be like, yeah, there's always gonna be that one person that you didn't know knew each other.
Totally.
Yes, yep. Well, and especially with me being from Manistee and Jesse working in Manistee, there was actually when we first got together though too, like we didn't realize how many people we already knew in common, but we just never knew each other, even though we were only like 40 miles away.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
there's always like some people scattered in between those 40 miles.
oh yeah. Yep, definitely.
How many?
So that's the big thing. And we're trying to keep it a little bit more. So I'm not a huge fan of flowers, but I love wildflowers. So that's
Mm,
kind of the color scheme that we're going for on the flower front of it, which is going to
that's
be
perfect
perfect for
too, June.
June.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then so to kind of make a color easy for comfortable for the guys to wear and also complimentary for the different women that I'm going to have in my bridal party too. It's going to be different blue hues because
Oh,
that'll also kind of tone down the bright colors of the wildflowers. So that way it's
yeah.
not
It's
super.
good to have like a solid, it's like the sky, and then you
Yeah.
have the wildflower. Yeah, like I think that's
Hmm.
perfect. I think that is gonna,
So,
that's beautiful.
yep.
Um, so how many people are in your wedding party?
It's I have 2 maid of honors and then I have 2 bridesmaids, and he hasn't even picked his 4 yet. So
That's funny.
yep. So 8 for the groomsmen, and then the bridesmaids, and then of course him and I. So 10 total.
Cool.
Yep. And then I'm not sure. I think we're gonna have. This is at least what I want to do, and we haven't quite had this portion of the conversation yet. His biological daughter, I want to be our flower girl, and then our 2 boys, mine and then his, I want to be the ring bearers. So
Oh,
yeah, to make sure
babysitter,
that they're part of
cool.
it.
Wow,
Yeah, exactly. So
that's gonna be so fun.
yep.
How many people do you think are gonna come to the wedding?
We have our guest list right around 160 right now.
Cool.
Yep.
And are you the ceremony and the reception are both at Fox Hill, right?
Yes. Yep. One of the ideas that I have, one of our favorite places to go to eat is actually over in Cadillac, right downtown. And it's called Clam Lake Beer Company.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful setting down there though too, because then on the back side of it, there's that little what would you even call that? It's kind of like a little community. They've got, you can see the lake from behind there. There's a big
Patio.
fire pit and a cage
Yeah,
and
right.
everything. So it's super cool. And I thought that it would be really cool to take the bridal party down there for a quick shoot too, and maybe pop into the Clam Lake and have him and I take a shot or something like that in our
Yeah.
formal attire. And oh yeah. So
Totally. Love that. Are you getting ready at Fox Hill or are you gonna go to a salon or something?
I am planning on getting ready at Fox Hill. They do have a little bridal room. It's relatively small, but my idea for that being is, so they have there's actually 2 hotels. There's one right across the street from it, and there's one like half a mile down the road. So that's kind of, I would have the guys get ready at one of those 2 places so they could have, maybe find a connecting room. So that way we're separated until the ceremony. So, we could have the whole place for the girls to do our thing.
Yeah, yeah, be able to have hair and makeup come.
Yep,
Okay,
exactly. Hmm.
cool. Okay. And then what time is this ceremony going to take place?
I haven't quite gotten that far yet, unfortunately. I actually have my follow-up meeting tomorrow with the event center to kind of solidify kind of one of those um, schedules for the day, and go through that kind of stuff to get ready to kind of work on those details. But the average, and I don't have that little notebook sitting right next to me. She recommends having the ceremony start around 4.
Yeah,
So
that sounds right. So I'm gonna mark that down as probably 4 because she's
okay.
right. Yeah, like so I just looked up sunset too. It's at 9:25.
Mhm.
So that leaves plenty of time for like you don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to start getting ready. And then also like you don't have to rush after the ceremony to get pictures done because sunset isn't until later. So it's like
Right, exactly.
I would say
Yeah.
if that's what she's recommending, I would I give the photographer's seal of approval. Have you thought about if you want to do a first look?
So I've kind of been tossing back a couple of different ideas. I'm a sucker for Pinterest, and I'm in a couple of different bridal groups on Facebook and everything too. So I've been looking through everybody else's stuff and what they've been doing. I've seen where like doing a first look with your dad
Mhm.
has been done, and I know that he's going to be a blubbering mess, which I think is going to be awesome but kind of funny too,
Yeah,
because
you're gonna
you'll
hold
see the
these
dynamic
pictures over
there.
him
Yeah.
forever.
Well, so it's just me and my brother, and my brother was a mama's boy, and I was daddy's girl. Like up into the even, as I've gotten older,
Right.
like one of my favorite things that my dad and I did together, we went and saw Breaking Benjamin and Disturbed in concert down in Detroit, and it was an outdoor tattoo festival. So of course we got tattoos,
Obviously.
because why not?
Why wouldn't you?
Typical father daughter.
Obviously.
Let's go do
Love
it.
it. Awesome.
So yeah, I think it would be quite fun to do something like that. And I don't know, I think I almost want to kind of make Jesse wait until I'm walking down the aisle,
Yeah.
because then everybody can get to see his reaction.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
there's two reasons why you would do like two practical reasons other than like,
mhm,
"Oh, I like it and it looks cool and I like that. Like there's that reason, but there's two practical reasons why. And the first one is timeline restraints. Like if you were going to be
mhm.
getting married at 8:45 because you wanted sunset ceremony, like then you would want to do it earlier in the day so we could take all your pictures.
Right, get nice pictures in daylight. Yes.
Yeah. So that's not an issue. The other one is that one or both of you does
Mhm,
not like to have all eyes on you and like maybe is uncomfortable in the spotlight. And if like some people have a hard time speaking
mhm,
publicly too. And
mhm.
maybe you want to say your own vows, but like public speaking for some people is like their worst fear.
Terrifying.
So, like if you want to say your own vows, but you are too terrified to say it in front of 100
Mhm.
people, you can like say your own vows privately to each other
Right.
during a first look, and then like just repeat after me
Mhm.
at this.
Sure.
Yeah. So those are kind of the two reasons, but if those don't either affect you, then yeah, down the aisle. Do it.
Right. Well, and so I felt so bad at my cousin's wedding 2 years ago because my grandmother, my mom's mom, is she's always on her phone taking pictures of everything. So
Mhm.
she was that person in the middle of the aisle trying to take pictures during the ceremony, and it's like there's a photographer here for a reason.
You got sit down.
Yes. So I am full force doing specifically just for the ceremony, unplugged. Like
Yeah.
leave your
Do
put
that.
your phone in your car. You
There
don't
could
need
be
it right
something on
now.
the invitation or something on the program, and then a little sign that says, "Thank you for being present with us. Please turn off your cell phone. We've hired an excellent photographer."
Exactly. Well, and that's just the thing though too, because then you see those pictures on Facebook though too. Like, don't be these people.
It's a real thing. It's a real
It's
thing. And like
terrible.
whatever, if that's what makes you happy and you want to have a bunch of cell phone pictures of yourself, like great. And I'm not mad about it. If this is what you and you don't mind us capturing like people being on their phones at your ceremony and you think it's funny or you think it's like part of who you are, then cool. But like if you
Right.
look at that and you go, "Oh my gosh," then the only way to make it not happen at yours is to say something.
Yep, absolutely. Like, and I'll
Very
even be
clear about
extra about it though too, because my grandma on my dad's side is the same way. She's always got to be taking pictures of, especially because of the great grandkids now though too. She's trying to catch everything that they're doing. So at least for the ceremony, even if I have to walk up to them and take it out of their hand and put it in my bridal suite
you can
until
even
the reception.
like we can even say like ask the photographer for a card or like grab a business card from the photographer's whatever so that you can see the photo so that you can have because I feel like a lot of people like don't know how they're going to end up seeing these photos ever. So like
Right.
you can like make it really clear if you hire us, like we'll have a website dedicated to you, so it'll be like your gallery where you can log in and
Right.
your guests will be able to log in.
And see them
So
all whenever. Yep.
yeah. So and we'll get people like pre-registered in the gallery. So we'll like
Hmm.
we could even leave an iPad up and be like pre-register to view the photos at the like before you leave the reception or whatever. Like we'll leave an iPad out for people to just pre-register for your gallery. So that way, like it kind of calms the nerves of people who are worried that they won't get these pictures or see them or like be able to experience.
Right.
And so the only way that they'll be able to is if they take pictures, and that's not true. They can get these pictures too. So,
Exactly.
how many hours of coverage do you think you want, like photography coverage?
It's kind of hard to put a hour time frame on it at the moment just because I really don't have that solidified timeline yet of kind of when things are going to be happening throughout the day. Um, if the ceremony is going to start at 4 and sunsets at 9:25, I mean, so that's 4, 5, 6, that's 5 hours right there. And
And then
then
you'll
so
want some of like getting ready, getting into your dress,
exactly.
pictures of
Yep.
your dress
So,
before you put it on, and your shoes and
yep,
things. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. So, I guess ballpark area, I would have to guess at least in between like that 7 and 8 hours point, which seems to be kind of typical, anyways, though, too.
Yeah.
I know I
I would
have
say that's
another,
pretty normal.
yeah, I have uh, another conference call actually too with another photographer too who suggested like just be prepared for it to be like a 7, 8, even sometimes 9 hour thing,
Mhm.
just as kind of basic. So
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to miss out on any of the stuff.
mhm.
You don't want to pay for things that it's like, why did I have her show up at 9 a.m.? Like I have bags under my eyes. I don't want any of these pictures. So it's like making the most use of your time. So like knowing that sunset is at 9:25, you'd probably want us to stay at least through 10.
Mhm.
So, and also like you're not doing a first look, so it's not like we need to be there super early.
Right.
I would say like a very safe time frame would be like 2 to 10, 8 hour day. And then
Sure.
your wedding, your ceremony being at 4, you've got 2 hours pre-ceremony for like getting pictures of you finishing off your hair and the guys
Mm.
getting their coats and stuff on and anything they're doing before, like I don't know if
Yep.
golfing or something before. That's the beauty of working with us is we don't charge extra for having a second photographer because we just go everywhere together, do everything together. So
Sure.
it's easier. Like, he can carry on the shit.
It's true.
um, much better that way. Um, so yeah, I would say like 2 to 10 would be ideal because then that way, if the guys are like out golfing or going to
Mhm.
stuff, then he can go with them. And if not, then he'll help me, knock out the detail pictures, hang the dress photo, or, like that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. He'll help me knock those out and then head over to the guys and,
Mhm.
like get ready.
Yep.
Um, So I would suggest just like making sure that you have all of your trinkets in one spot by the time that we arrive. So if we're there at 2 p.m., make sure that your hairpiece and your veil and your dress and your shoes and your garter, your jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
invitation, your flowers, the handkerchief your grandma gave you, or the wearing, or what, like the things that are like the details of the wedding, like that. Just keep them all in
Mm-hmm.
one place, in a box, in a bag, something where we can just be like, all right, grab this, gonna go outside, put these on some trees, put them in some flowers, get
Yep.
then just
Mm-hmm.
knock those out really quick. And then we'll come
Right.
back in and you'll be getting your last spray of hairspray and your last lick of mascara and you'll look beautiful. And it's like, you would have never known there's a stress zit from being wedding week and you have bags under your eyes, you didn't sleep last night. And um, so do you think, like you said, going over to the restaurant or to that deck area, do you think that the wedding party would leave like on a party bus or something like that to go do that?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. There was one actually that Julie, the owner of Fox Hill, recommended, and it's in the same notebook that the whole timeline, everything is. I think I know right where it's at, but for right now, that's probably going to be the easiest way, just to kind of make sure, like everybody's corralled.
Well, and it's nice because everyone too can just like,
Exactly.
it's over.
Yep.
The stressful part is over. Let's crack a beer.
Yes. Yep. And what's nice though too is, I mean, the event center is like, it's like an 8-minute drive to downtown. So it's not like you gotta get in the bus, drive 15-20 minutes. It's like right down the road,
Yeah,
which is
just
awesome.
enough. It's perfect because yeah, it's like just enough of a breather to like, whew,
Yes.
and then you go
Mm-hmm.
take some pictures, and then you get back on the bus
Yeah.
and you go, whew, and then you go into your reception. It's not too
Mm,
long. It's not like, oh, come on, we gotta get back.
right.
I got a bunch of people waiting. Like it's not like that. It just goes quick.
Yes. I know one of the things, having been a captain for banquets and watching and having to like kind of make sure that that wedding timeline like stays on track.
You
There
know.
was one that I remember captaining at specifically, and they chose to do the chairlift ride up on the Clipper. And so they had their wedding timeline planned way before they knew like what the sunset time for that night was going to be. And they ended up being 2 hours behind on their pictures. Yes, it was a nightmare.
Sounds
Yeah,
very stressful.
yes. Yeah, and I felt bad though too, because the bride and the groom ended up eating their food cold because they were like, "We've got to go get these pictures done." And I was like, "Okay, but then you need to understand, like, we will keep your plates in the warmer, but the quality of the food is not going to be there anymore. And we can't guarantee that it's going to be a nice hot plate by the time you guys get back from your pictures." And they were both like, "The pictures are the most important for us right now." And I was like, "Okay."
Okay, alrighty then.
Sure.
Well, okay, so let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important are great wedding photos to you?
That it's one of the things that, I want to make sure that we're able to have these pictures for the rest of our lives, be able to show our kids when they're getting ready to get married, what they're old enough that they'll remember.
Mhm.
But just being able to pull out that wedding album and show them, like, this is what mom and dad did when we got married, and then show grandkids when we've got those, because Jesse was talking about that last night and said in
Whoa,
20 years, when we have grandkids in 20 years. And I was like,
like
don't
I am in
talk like
my mid
that.
20s. Like, let's not make me a grandma yet, huh?
Well, I made him stop talking about it by saying, at least I'll only be 44, but you'll be 53. He was like, that was mean.
It was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
you're like, you'll be an appropriate grandpa age.
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
like a young hot grandma.
Yeah, let's just say that my mom was a little less than thrilled by, the age frame that she became a grandma, but quickly she got over that one. So,
Yeah, I'm sure holding that baby was like, oh, I don't mind.
mhm. Yep, exactly.
So like why would it be devastating to get like terrible wedding photos back? Like what would be super terrible about that?
Just feeling, if they were terrible from any standpoint, feeling like the whole purpose of us getting together, with our families being involved and going through everything to get to that point, just not having that love and connection between not only him and I, but all of our, loved ones together being captured to, really remember that.
Totally.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can't even like look back on the photos and feel good about it, like you look at
Mhm.
it and even like, whoa, it's so bad. Like, look at that
Right.
angle on me. Oh, yeah. Or like if it's poorly lit, or like the
Mhm.
colors are off. That one thing that I've noticed in some work that I've seen is that like some photographers will be like, here's however many photos, but this one is only in black and white. You don't get the color version. And if like, yeah, like, yeah, some photographers, because indoor light is super yellow and they don't know how to
Yep.
light or balance color or like use off camera.
Mhm.
There's another key phrase to look out for. I'm a natural light photographer, which just means
Mhm.
I don't know how to use artificial light. It's not to say like, I mean, every photographer is a natural light photographer. It just like when they say that though, it just means like I don't use flash. I don't know how to use flash, and there's a reason
Mhm.
like when and where and appropriate times to use flash, even in the middle of the day. It just depends
Yes.
on like like lighting and angles and all the things that it's
Mhm.
really important to keep an eye out for those phrases and
Mhm.
know that this just means like I don't know how to shoot inside. If your
Mhm.
wedding is inside and because it's raining, we're gonna be in trouble because I don't know how to use inside light.
One thing that I love about the event center that we chose, though, too, like I said, every other, so they have French doors
Mhm.
on the whole wall on the right hand side and across the back wall, and then they've got windows on the other wall, so all of that natural light comes in no matter where the sun is at,
Love
and
it.
every other door opens. So especially,
Love
with June, hopefully by then, for next year, it's going to be nice and warm and everything outside, and it'll be perfect.
it. Mhm.
um and then so they have chandeliers that run through the center of the ceiling that are also on dimmers, so you don't have to have
Mhm.
them super bright. You can, kind of set that little tone in there. And then they have the string lights, the white string lights that
Love.
go across the ceiling too. So
Oh,
yeah,
all
so you can turn off those fluorescent lights and it's still gonna be nicely lit,
well
but
lit.
not quite. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I hate like that bright fluorescent lighting anyways, because I get headaches from that kind of thing. Like if I'm staring at a computer all day long, no thank you.
Yeah, totally.
So,
Yeah, that
mhm.
blue light glasses are where it's at. I left mine downstairs, of course. Um, so like what did you see in our work that drew you in that you were like, oh, I gotta get on a call with her?
I actually have it pulled up on my laptop. I have you on my iPad right now.
Oh, great.
Yes, like certainly the attention to details and stuff. One of the ones that I'm looking at right now, there's a little wooden carrier of beer bottles that have the flowers sticking out.
Mhm.
And then of course, so that's the focal point, and then the background is kind of dimmed with the different focuses and stuff that I know that you guys are capable of doing with the fancy cameras and stuff. I've looked into photography a couple of times myself, but
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And I'm looking at the other one though too, where it looks like a bride and her father are standing on a bridge somewhere. Of course, now my computer is not operating.
Mhm.
It will not allow me to scroll at the moment. But and just the different attention to the detail on like the angles and everything though too. The other one that I can see firsthand is the sun coming through in the background of the trees, and it's right in between where they're looking. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it is something that takes time to hone in, and I'm fortunate
Mhm.
enough to have 10 years of doing this under my belt,
Mhm.
and didn't start out like this, but practice and
You
learn.
find what works.
Yeah, do what works and don't do what
Hmm.
doesn't work. Yeah, you learn what works and what doesn't over time.
Yep.
Um, cool. So have you thought about like if you want an engagement session with your package at all?
I'm not 100% sure yet. We did family photos this fall. So
Mhm.
shortly after we got engaged, and we made sure that we got a couple of just him and I, of course, too. So there's quite a bit of those that I did my save the dates already because I
Nice.
found a super great deal, and I think I paid like 8 cents a piece. So
Oh,
I kind of plugged in. I used two of our pictures from our actual engagement, and then I used a couple of pictures from that session.
cool.
So that's kind of one of those things, like, I would love to do an engagement session, but maybe talking him into doing that is another one of those hurdles I might have to get over. He
Mhm.
is one of the ones, he doesn't like getting his picture taken necessarily. Like, he knows that,
I know those
of course,
types.
but yes, he's like, of course, for the wedding, have we'll have our pictures taken and everything. But the funniest thing about that whole thing, though, too, is the family pictures were his idea, and then through the whole day, he is like, "Are we done yet?"
Just a couple more. Straighten up.
No, right?
Mom
Exactly.
voice.
And I kept telling him, and I was like, "This was your idea."
You did not do this. That's funny. That's
Yeah.
great. So okay, so I'm just gonna put down 2 to 10. Have you
Sure.
thought about like if you guys want like a photo booth at your reception at all?
So that I actually had a note to ask about that because I saw that on your website too, and saw some of the pictures on the Facebook page and everything too, and that is absolutely something that I
It's,
would love to do.
it's so
Yes.
freaking fun. Everybody loves
Uh,
it. Especially you're talking about like games outside and like big
yeah.
like this is gonna this perfect like addition to that. So okay. Okay, so yeah, the Enchanted Mirror, it's a 5.5 foot touchscreen photo booth and it prints on the spot and you can text the photos to yourself right on the spot. Um, we host the photos online so everybody can see all of the pictures from the night. So like you get your own photo texted to you, but then it also says check here for to see all the photos from tonight. It's
Nice.
super fun. And then you also get a guest book with that so that people can put their photo in there. And it's unlimited prints during the night. So, like people can print as many as they need to make sure everybody has a copy. And then we'll print one extra so that they can put it in the guest book for you
Mhm.
and sign their name and give you the
Right.
love note, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
And then we also give you a thumb drive with all of the photos on it at the end of the night. And of course, I'll send all of this over to you too so that you can talk to him about it. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like it's just a nice thing to do for people who don't dance or who are tired. Like they've danced 3 songs in a row, they need a breather, but they still like want
Need
to,
something to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
need something to do. There's cornhole and then there's the photo booth. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
there's some stations just rotate
Oh yeah.
through the
I mean,
station.
they've got the yard tic tac toe. They've got
Oh,
the Connect Four. The
Jenga.
all yeah, the giant Jenga and everything's. And
Mhm.
so on the side of the building where it's the longest section of those doors that open wide up, it's a huge, beautiful yard, but it's still closed off from like the road and everything. So it's still private, but nice and open too. So
Mhm.
I'm super excited.
Love it. Okay. So let's see. I think that kind of covers it on my end as far as what I need to know in order to be able to. Is there anything else you think I need to know in order to be able to give you a quote?
The one thing that I do want to do towards the end of the evening, and of course, it's gonna have to be dark out, so it will just kind of have to kind of see how uh um schedule looks for that day. Is I really want to do like that sparkler send off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yep. We can definitely do that. And honestly, number one, you don't need all 160 people to have a sparkler
Right.
go off. Number two, you don't have to have us there until the end of the night to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, it doesn't have to be pitch black.
Sure.
The sun goes down at 9:25, so and we're there till 10. I'm fully confident
Mm-hmm.
that we can step outside at dusk and get just a really, really cool photo. You can
Mm-hmm.
have your bridal party and maybe your parents and siblings and like the close people.
Mm-hmm.
And then that way you don't have to go buy 160 sparklers.
Right.
Try and rally horses outside, like herding cats outside to
Yeah.
do a sparkler picture with you. Just like pick a handful, maybe like 20 people
Mm-hmm.
that will help you out with this, and they know
Mm-hmm.
ahead of time. They aren't hammered by 10 p.m.
Yeah. No.
Although like that can be fun too.
It
Um,
would certainly make things more entertaining.
yeah,
But
there's
I
gonna be
really,
a lot of like streaks.
yeah. I never thought about the whole just doing the close family only, but I think that would also make those pictures that much more special though too, because then it's the most important people on both sides,
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and then that way, like everybody else can be inside doing the cha-cha slide. You don't
yeah,
have to worry about trying to get everybody outside and making sure everybody's sober enough to participate.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's definitely possible, and especially to stay there through 10 o'clock. We'll build it into your timeline where you and me and Jesse and Don go outside at like 9:15.
mm-hmm.
Some of those like golden hours sunset photo. It'll take 10 minutes, 15 minutes top
Right,
to get like some really beautiful. And then we'll just have the DJ make an announcement.
mm-hmm.
When we go outside, I'll tell the DJ, hey, make the announcement that the sparkler folks are supposed to meet us at the corner down there, like wherever.
Mm-hmm. Sure,
But announce that in like 15 minutes. So
mm-hmm.
then that way everybody will just come out to us. Yeah, and then we'll get those last sparkler photos right after we get sunset photos of you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's do a drawing because we are running a deal this month where you can win up to $1,000 off of your package with us.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can choose. These are sticky notes. They're very fancy. You can
I
choose
would have done the same thing.
1, 2, or 3.
Oh, let's go 3.
3. Okay. Haha. You what? Oh, you can't really see it. You won $500 off
I can
package.
now.
That's great. That's awesome. Okay, let me make a note of that really quick. Okay, and now I'm gonna get my calculator out. So, all right. So I don't want you to freak out right off the bat. This isn't what you're gonna pay.
Okay.
So normally, Don and I are $5.50 an hour. So 550 times 8 is 4,400, and that's not what you're gonna pay.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, we're gonna take off $500 because you won that. So that brings you down to 3,900. And then in addition to that, I'm gonna do. I would love to. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry, that's so loud. I would love to include our enchanted mirror for you at no extra charge.
Okay.
And that would include the unlimited prints through the entire duration of your reception. So it would go past 10 o'clock. So however late your reception goes, we would just leave the mirror there, and we would like we would be there making sure that things run,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that, but like there's no reason for us to keep photographing like professional photos beyond 10 p.m.
Right.
It just turns into blackmail.
Yes.
But the photo booth pictures are perfect because they're willing
Right.
to do it. So, and the other part about this is like you have a year and a half and like, or a year and whatever, 4 months or something, 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Time is just
Yeah.
right now. Yeah, you have over a year to like make payments on this too. So rather
Mm-hmm.
than being like, oh, you have to pay this 3,900 up front, what we
Mm-hmm.
would do is we would be like, okay, so if you want to lock this in, you put down whatever amount you're comfortable with. So we're not doing like 50% is required, which is what we used to do. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's on a different scale right now. So we just want to make it as easy for you to say yes as possible. Because I want
Mm-hmm.
to give you exactly what you want, and nothing that you don't. The other thing that I want to include with that 3,900 is an album for you, so that actually, let me show you what that looks like really quick, because
Sure.
that's something that um, I think is a really huge value, to be able to have something printed, have like, rather than just digital copies of everything, which by the way, you will get
Mm-hmm.
digital copies of everything. So you'll get access to the high resolution photos and you can print anywhere that you want. But we have a print store attached to your gallery. Let me find one of these here. Let's see here. Okay, can you see my screen? Crazy, crazy.
There it goes. Yep.
Okay. So, like when we deliver a gallery, this is what it looks like. We've got
Mm-hmm.
different categories up here at the top, so that it's not just a Dropbox folder and like good luck, sort and
Right.
enjoy. It's just kind of like more organized, and you can see the progression of the day, and it makes timeline sense.
Yep.
And also you'll see on here there's a really faint watermark, but when you log in to your gallery with your
Mm-hmm.
email address, it will not have that watermark at all.
Gotcha.
So you'll be able to download in high resolution and take them anywhere to print,
Mm-hmm.
or in low resolution and share them on the web, so that you don't have like giant photos on your phone, because high resolution does take up a lot of space.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, those like web resolutions are perfect
Yeah.
for that. So these girls were just getting ready in a trailer, and then the guys were just under a tent over by where the ceremony was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Beers, getting into her dress. Um, so like this was all natural light. I
Yep.
didn't flash here, obviously. She did do a first look with her dad too, and he was
Mm-hmm.
very stoic. Like this was the face that he made when he saw her.
Oh my goodness.
Sweet. And then she pinned on his boutonniere there. And then yeah, of
Aw.
course we're gonna get lots of detailed pictures, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely paying attention to details is something that I think that we really excel at. Making sure that we're really like looking for things that matter to you, that we can tell mean something to you.
Right.
Um, yeah, these,
Wow. Yeah.
she made these, like as she's telling me, like, oh yeah, I made every centerpiece, or like I made these decorate. I'm like, well, we gotta document that.
Exactly. Yep.
She also,
We're
while,
doing our own centerpieces.
oh nice,
Yeah,
that's
that's really
cool.
pretty.
So these are
Let me
more the
see.
portraits. So like making sure that you get one, a couple, several with each of your groomsmen and bridesmaids
Yeah.
individually, and of course the ring bearers and bridesmaids,
Oh
um,
yeah.
and flower girls, of course. And like we'll get pictures. See, she's like fully ready, except for just not in her dress. Like she's got her hair and makeup done.
Yep. Yep.
The robe will do this.
Yeah.
Then that way
Yep.
everybody looks good and feels good, but you have the illusion of like, we're getting ready.
Right. So
uh,
I don't know where the camera is on mine right now, if you're gonna be able to even see it at the moment, but
yeah,
this is
yeah.
kind of
Oh yeah, okay.
so that's kind of the idea. And then, but I love yard sailing though too. So like going to find like those old vintage,
Yeah.
like even beer bottles and stuff like that with the different greens and browns and that to, yeah, with the different wildflowers and such. So it's kind of going to be a little mix and match on
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think, your people will appreciate it because I think it will represent you guys really well.
hmm
Yeah. Okay, so of course we're gonna make it fun and people are gonna be have a good time. Um, and there's always like the official portrait, stand here, smile, cheese, that
oh
kind of,
yeah.
but like that, I didn't prompt that at all. I told them the photo was over. I was like, okay, here we go. Look up here. 1, 2, 3, take the picture. And then I was like, okay, all done. And I just held my camera up because that's when the good stuff always happens. And he
Yep.
went and hugged his new brother-in-law.
Aw.
Yeah. Or I guess, no, I guess this would be his uncle. Yeah. But yeah,
Cute.
of course there's gonna be like, yeah, just different moments that happen in
Yep.
between that we make sure to keep the camera up for. Like this was unprompted. You know,
Aw.
stuff like that, just super sweet.
Yep.
Um, and these official portraits are nice because this is something that like dad's gonna put it on the mantle, like or grandma's gonna.
Exactly. Those are nice to print for. Even one of the things that we did with our family pictures though too was we had a couple of different of the ones with all of us printed and
Mhm.
did Christmas gifts.
Yeah, I really like it's such a nice thing for people. Like giving memories is a
Mhm.
like priceless, you know.
Yep.
Goofy. They were goofy.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, these are like the official portraits and the style that you can expect to see from us.
Mhm.
Um, these moments of just like candid, they're like candid moments, you know.
Pure joy.
Yeah, pure joy. Exactly. Cheersing with your bridesmaids.
Oh yeah.
Um, I think I just told them like put your heads together and sync your breathing up and really think about what's happening right now. And then I just like step back and let
Yep.
that happen, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we did a smoke bomb. That's right.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
Yep.
We always have fun stuff like this, like I have bubble machines, and they wanted to do just one sparkler photo. They're actually so this is photoshopped because their
Mhm.
menu did not allow them to have sparklers. So
Oh
that's
wow.
all me.
That's cool.
Yeah. So just know you're gonna have great sparkler photos no matter what. And then these are kind of like the more candid, and we're looking
Yep.
back into the crowd. This is something that I think is super important to look for too, is like making
Oh
sure
yes.
that the rest of the crowd gets documented as well.
Yep.
This is something that gets forgotten to look back into the crowd.
Mhm.
The moments leading up, the excitement, grandma.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is kind of like what you can expect to see. He's like going to seat his new mother-in-law.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so these are like those candid moments that you were talking about, but also just like
Mhm.
making sure that we're getting good angles. There's two
Right.
of us too, so like one of us is taking from one spot and the other one is taking from the other.
Mhm.
We have different lenses. We each have two cameras on our hips. Like this is what you get. This is the difference between hiring someone who's just starting out versus someone who like knows what the heck they're doing.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I know we're not like $1,000, but also I also know that the people who you're taking a gamble, like whether or not you're gonna love the photos if you are picking somebody who's new at this.
Right.
Um, and if that's something you're willing to gamble with, then go ahead. By all means, like I don't wanna hold you back from doing something you want to do, but also just know that this is only going to happen once.
Oh
And
yeah.
you want to be able to look at the photos and love them and not be
Mhm.
like, that was a waste of $1,000. Like, what was even the point of spending that?
Right.
You know? um, so yeah. There's their kiss the bride,
So
walking back down
pretty.
the aisle. He was about to lose it. It was awesome. Um, And then of course the reception is always fun.
Oh yeah.
I did a change to the outfit change too. And I brought bubble machines because that's what I do. I like bring fun stuff and it worked out really well.
Well, the kids would love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
And then of course
security.
like dances. Oh, and like you were talking about twinkle lights and stuff. Like I have these little fairy lights that I'll hold in front of my
Yep.
camera to make cool effects in camera like this. Um yeah, so but these are only like tricks that you learn after having done this for a long time.
Yep.
Um so this is kind of what you could expect to see. And then yeah, as the light goes down, then it's important to know like
Mhm.
okay, we have to use flash now and this is what
Yep.
flash looks like and
Mhm.
it's not like what you think of when you think of flash photography. Off camera is a little bit different than
Mhm.
just having a flash pop up on your camera. It's different. Um yeah, all these different angles, different things happening. These two like have known each other since birth. Their moms were next to each other in the hospital.
Aw.
Um yeah, so this is, speeches, of course, getting
Yep.
these moments of like joy, unprompted joy.
Yes.
um yeah. So that's what you can expect to see like out of a gallery. I picked one that I thought would be pretty similar to like the kind of lighting and the kind of vibe that
Mhm.
you guys are going for. They didn't have as many yard games as I know you guys are gonna have, which I'm excited for because I like yard games. So then attached to your gallery is a shop. And like I said, you can print anywhere you want, but I've kind of
Mhm.
curated these. All of these are using different printers. And it's
Mhm.
stuff that I tested out myself and
Mhm.
known like, okay, this is really, really high quality stuff. And there's always going to be a place for like a snapfish gallery or like a
Mhm.
snapfish album and all of that. But like the albums that we put together, they're just like they're extremely high quality.
Mhm.
And I know that the pages don't yellow and that they don't bend over time. They lay
Right.
flat. So this is just like any other album creation thing that you've ever used before, if you've ever made one. So
Yep.
like you can edit and then you can choose a layout, of
Layouts and
course. And then like you just drag and drop the photos in.
Mhm.
Gosh, of course my computer is slow right now.
Yeah, mine didn't wanna work either, so
I know you feel my pain. But yeah, it's just drag and drop. And then it's
Nice.
also organized down here. So you can make favorites inside of your gallery. You can
Mhm.
art the ones that you like the most, and you have this favorites folder where all of
Sure.
your arted photos would be. But then
Yep.
it's also organized by the day or like by the section down here, so that
Mhm.
and then you can also see like, okay, I'm gonna drop that one in. Oh, it's
Mhm.
this one's been used already, so you don't accidentally use it twice.
Gotcha.
It's really very intuitive and easy to use. And then that way also you can like edit the color,
Mhm.
what it says, and and then that way you guys can really
Mhm.
like make it your own. And so you would get credit for that. You'd get 100 pages, and it would be a 10 by 10 album. And yeah, that would be included for you, and you would be able to build that at your own leisure.
Mhm.
And you can save your design and come back to it. What are your thoughts on everything so far?
I love everything that we've gone over between like the how long you guys would be there, the details and everything. You've given some good ideas for like the sparkler send off and the first look stuff, and just kind of like what the day would feel like. So I mean that's extremely helpful anyways, just because I mean obviously I've never done this before,
Yeah,
so
yeah. Good to
um
lean on a professional. And more than
yes.
like even in your like with your other vendors too, like the ones who really know what they're doing, who have been doing this a long time, like lean on us. Like let us know where we can, where you need help. And even like when you do choose us too, like you're gonna get timeline help from me. Like once you get
Mhm.
that timeline back from Fox Hill, I would love if you would email that over to me just so that I can
Mhm.
look at it and be like, yeah, that looks good. Or like, actually, can you make this 20 minutes longer so that we have time to whatever.
Do what? Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's the benefit of hiring seasoned professionals.
Yes.
We've been doing it a long time. So what other questions do you have for me?
I don't know that I have any right now at the moment, honestly. I mean,
Okay.
I've gotten a lot more information than I think I really expected to, which is awesome. I'm glad that I
Yeah,
wrote a thing.
my kind of gal.
I if I don't write things down, it's in one ear and out the other and
Totally.
not intentionally.
Yeah, no,
So
I'm
it
the same
looks
way.
like chaos right now, but when I get the chance to kind of, especially when I'm going over everything with Jesse though too, like it'll all start to make a lot more sense.
I'll send this over in a quote that is like really easy to break down to
Okay.
like to really show
Yes.
him like what this is and what you guys get and all of that good
Hmm.
stuff and like what the value is versus like what you're actually getting it for is also
Right.
really helpful. Um, so like how soon are you guys wanting to check off the photography box?
Sooner rather than later. I know, especially with the way that the last year has been, there's been a lot of postponing of weddings into the year 2022
Yeah, we
and
already have
even further.
17 weddings booked for 22.
Yes. So I know that I don't want to wait too long and then miss out on the opportunity to also get to kind of be picky and choosy and really get what we're looking for.
Yeah.
So, I'm really kind of hoping to solidify photography at least like by this June. So that way we have that booked and planned out at least that year in advance. Just because I know I mean, it's super quick.
Yeah, totally.
So,
It's not always been like this, but this is just the year that I mean, like we have
yep.
58 weddings booked for this year so far.
Oh my
But we have
goodness.
associates who work for us too. So that's part of those 58 weddings. Um, so we have that, and then we have 17 already booked for next year, and that the bookings
Wow.
for 22 are just coming in like crazy right now. So you're right, like the sooner you start really like getting
Mm.
after this and looking into who you like and all that, like the more you are going to be able to be picky. Um, so what I would love to offer for you guys
Mhm.
is that if you make your first payment in April, I will also add an additional $300 print credit. So you guys could like blow something up and put it on your wall or send thank you cards through using the shop. Um, So you could use that 300 bucks to do whatever you want in the store. There's canvas prints, there's all kinds of
Mhm.
stuff you could use that for. So in addition to the album, if you guys put your first payment down and sign your contract in April, then we will
Mhm.
add a $300 print credit on there for you.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, cool.
yeah, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and send all of this over to you in a quote, and
Smooth enough. Sorry.
it's okay. I have a dog and two cats. I live in the zoo. It's totally fine. UPS is here.
He's crazy. He hears anything could happen outside. I mean, there's a little chair on the porch over there, and that could like it'll hit up against the house every once in a while if it's super windy, and he'll
Yeah,
think that's a knock on the door, and then that's exactly what he does.
literally.
Yeah.
You're like, it's 11 p.m. Nobody's here.
Right. Exactly.
That's funny. Okay, so I'm gonna put all this together in a quote for you. I'll email it over. The email that I send it in will have my cell phone, my email address, my web, all the things. But you can contact me like anytime if you have any questions about any of it. If you're like, oh, you know what, I really wish that we had actually a ninth hour because if we then
Hmm.
talk to me, we'll figure it out. And then also once you talk to him and figure out what your deposit, what you want to put down on it, we'll figure out what a payment plan is going to be. I would
Mhm.
say just for guidance for like what other people do. I'd say like 50% of people put half down. And then the other 25% of people will just pay it in full because there's $100 pay in full credit that you would
Mhm.
get. So you get $100 off if you just do the whole thing. But then I would say the other 25% of people do like, I don't know, a payment plan, 800
Mhm.
down and then 4 or 5 more pay whatever of $500. Whatever that
Okay.
looks like for you guys, I just want to make it attainable for you and not,
Mhm.
I know is probably I know on the like inquiry form you would put like we're looking to stay at 1500. I know it's above budget, but
Mhm.
I also feel like you probably weren't expecting to get what you're getting out of it.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, especially with you doing the enchanted mirror included though too. I mean, you look at even doing photography from one person and then finding another company that does that kind of stuff. I
I
mean, that
mean, I
at
know
the end of the day, you're spending, you
about
know,
the same anyway. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Especially when
exactly.
then you get into, of course, not everybody includes the prints and the photo albums and everything that you have included in the package. At the
Yeah,
end of the day,
that
you're
package
gonna
that
spend
I
anyway.
mentioned for like the enchanted mirror and stuff, if we were to
Mhm.
just do that alone, it's $1,800.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you look at it in that sense and you're looking at 3,900, like you're getting a great deal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna send this over, and if I don't hear from you in like a week, I'll just check in with you and see if you've had a chance to talk to Jesse at all.
Sure.
But if like decide that you want to go for it between now and then, you'll be able to just accept the quote, and that will
Okay.
send you to your contract. And once you sign that, that'll send you to your invoice where you can make a payment.
Okay, sounds good. And just to kind of let you know though too, so my parents are pretty much paying for the whole thing.
Cool.
Um, so of course, with them being in New York, that communication can kind of be, I'll send my mom a text message or call her, and then of course she, talk to dad about everything, and
Yeah.
so communication might be a little bit longer than you would usually maybe work with, but of
No
course,
problem.
everything like that, I'll keep updated on though too. So
Yeah.
and with me though too, even if you do just use like the text message and just say, "Hey, where do you think you might be at with this?"
Yeah. And of
And
course, if
that'll
someone
prompt
else
me to
comes
send
in
that
too and
text
like
message.
asks about June 10th, I'll make sure that I check with you first. Like I'm not gonna let someone come in and swoop your date.
Oh, cool. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Sounds good.
Cool. All
Well,
right.
thank you.
Thank you. It was nice to talk to you.
Yes, you too. Nice to put name to face, us in voice and everything. Even though this
Yeah.
is the only way that everybody's doing it, I just my interview for that potential new position was on Zoom yesterday. So
Oh, look at you, zooming like a Zoom pro.
yeah.
Cool. Well, it was really great to get to know you. I'm so excited for you and just I'm really looking forward to this, Morgan. I think it's going to be just awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.